Lisa, is it? I don't see it. Has it gone live?
Yes, we're live now.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. The June 28th, 2024 Oregon State Lottery Commission meeting is now in session. Today's meeting is being live streamed on the internet and a link is posted on the Oregon Lottery website.
I don't see it. Is it gone live?
Sorry.
It is noted for the record that commissioners are attending this meeting via the web and a quorum of commissioners is present for today's meeting. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Patel?
Here.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Here.
Commissioner Weller?
Here.
Commissioner Wilcox?
Here.
Chair Saathoff?
Here. Thank you. Will the clerk also inform the commission of any guests that have joined today's meeting?
Yes, we have Nate Carter from the Department of Justice with us this morning.
Thank you. Members of the public have the opportunity to provide written public comment to the commission for this meeting. A copy of the written comments that were received were provided to the commissioners in advance of the meeting and will be posted on the commission meeting website. Will the clerk please share the public comments that were received for the record?
Yes, we received the following public comment from Patrick McCollum. Hello, Lottery Commissioners. My name is Patrick McCollum. I currently own and operate Max Restaurant and Custom Catering in Eugene. I have been a video lottery retailer since it was introduced in 1992. The other establishments I owned were the Treehouse Restaurant from 1977 to 97 and the Wild Duck Brewery and Restaurant from 1996 to 2001. As I witnessed one of the last 3 video terminals being removed from my establishment on Wednesday, May 29th, 2024, I could not help to feel like the very industry that was absolutely instrumental in securing video lottery for the state of Oregon is now being punished for not reaching sales goals. As a board member and active participant with the Oregon Restaurant Association in the mid-'80s and early '90s, I remember quite clearly that it was our lobbyists and executive team that were largely responsible for getting the bars and taverns that were operating with gray machines to team up with the Oregon Lottery to legitimize video gambling under the Oregon Lottery umbrella. Now, legitimate restaurant and bar operators are losing machines while the video poker parlors disguised as delis flourish with their 6 machines. It is very simply not right. I choose to operate my restaurant for dinner only 5 nights a week. I spend 90% of my time focused on our very busy, successful catering business. So please understand this is not about loss of revenue. What it is about is providing a pleasant and positive entertainment opportunity for my guests. And now with only 2 machines, my customers will have to wait or they will just go elsewhere, both of which I find highly unacceptable. It is a classic case of biting the hand that's been feeding you for 32 years. While I recognize that you good folks are charged with maximizing revenue for the state, and of course the lottery does good things, please consider how you got here and all the legitimate restaurant and bar owners that have made it possible. Thanks for listening. The second comment was received from Shelley Toffmark. Good morning. I have contributed a tremendous amount of my income towards the Oregon Lottery since 2010. I have accessed the gambling treatment provided in the past, and I appreciate the funding for that, especially under the top-of-the-line leadership of Jeannie Gillard. Courses like DBT were also very helpful. I really feel that people who have lost so much to gambling should get some form of debt assistance from the Oregon Lottery funds. Debt consolidation services and 0 or low interest loans would be very helpful. When a person is drowning in debt and their credit card charges such high interest, it's almost impossible to get out from under the debt. This can lead to a life-threatening depression. In some cases, I have heard of people committing crimes to cover their basic needs. People in desperation use desperate measures. In July of 2023, I had not gambled for 6 years and had excellent credit and paid off my credit cards in full each month. I had no debt. As we get close to July 2024, I have more than $20,000 in debt. I had several 0% interest credit cards that allowed you to take out cash advances. I experienced several emotional storms, including my son getting cancer, and I paid off some of his debts on my 0% interest card, but he was unable to return the money, so I took desperate measures. This included taking out cash advances at a high interest rate to gamble. I was hoping to pay off those debts with my winnings before the interest rate went up to 29% accrued interest. Now all of my income goes to paying the high interest on my credit cards and almost nothing is left to pay them off. As many of you know, dopamine is created in the brain when you play video lottery games, and it's similar to the effect of crack cocaine. When you get that rush in winning, it's not easy to quit. You end up losing a lot, at least some of us do. This is good for business for you because any little money a gambling addict gets will go to gambling in hopes of paying off their debts. But as responsible stewards of this lottery system, I believe that lottery funds should go to providing debt consolidation and low interest loans to those who have funded the Oregon lottery system. With fewer people struggling with debts, you'll have more people gambling for entertainment purposes. I enjoy video lottery a great deal. It is something especially nice for people who have lost their partners in life. It's a way to socialize without drinking, and there is a potential to win sometimes. Debt and depression can lead to suicidal thinking and plans, and that is not cool. Please consider helping funders of the Oregon Lottery to manage their debt in a healthy way. I would rather a small amount of interest I pay go to helping other people with gambling debts than to have that interest go to a major credit card corporation. Sincerely, Shelley Toffmark.
Thank you, Lisa. I know the commission knows that we don't discuss or respond to public comments in the meeting, but I also want to thank those members of the public that do provide comments. I know that leadership takes all of these comments and looks at them thoroughly and responds accordingly. With that, let's move to the director's report.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Sathoff and commissioners. Today, I'm actually presenting to you from the U.S. territory of Puerto Rico. This week, San Juan, Puerto Rico, and the Puerto Rican Lottery hosted the National Association of State and Provincial Lotteries Director Conference. This event was especially exciting because it's been delayed since 2017 when they were supposed to host. Unfortunately, that is the year that they were devastated by both Hurricane Irma, Hurricane Maria, and suffered an earthquake, which was catastrophic to the island. And they were finally able to have us here and host. The Puerto Rican Lottery was the first government-run lottery in 1934. It was not until 1964 when New Hampshire became the second state to actually offer a lottery. So it was super special to be here, and they've been amazing hosts. The directors at these meetings for a week hold a number of planning sessions to discuss industry trends, work on local and national game enhancements. We review game rules, game security, do some strategic planning on the national front, and just have a valuable opportunity to work with my colleagues across the country and compare notes and talk about what's going well and what we can continue to work on. This year we spent a lot of time also discussing responsible gaming and some of the new efforts that are underway across the country. So it's been a great week, and also look forward to coming home. So this month we proudly attended and sponsored the Governor's Marketplace Conference and Trade Show. This is one of the state's premier events for business owners and entrepreneurs. The Marketplace returned to its first in-person event since 2019 and is led by the Governor's Office. Our beneficiaries, the Oregon Department of Veterans Affairs and Business Oregon, were also co-sponsors of this event. Attendees of the event are able to network with state agencies and are provided information about public contracting opportunities and business resources that they can get involved with. So special thanks to our staff who have participated in these events and have been there to help sponsor. We are currently planning an all-staff in-person event coming up in August. We recently hosted a virtual event in February, but we're going to try in August an actual hybrid event. So this will be the first time we've done this since COVID. So, since COVID, we've gone to more of a hybrid work environment, and we're trying to get back some of that cultural sense and agency culture that we used to have here. So super excited to host a in-person event where we are going to have a bunch of educational opportunities for staff, some time to just interact with one another. All of our sessions are also going to be streamed for our remote employees to participate in. So we're really looking forward to that coming up in August. A sales update. Our traditional game sales are up 4.4%, thanks to several billion-dollar Powerball and Mega Millions jackpots this year. The average daily Megabucks jackpot is below past years, but sales are above those prior 2 years. Crossplay for Mega Millions and especially Powerball generate sales during periods of large jackpots and to continue to significantly contribute to Megabucks revenue. Scratch sales are slightly ahead of last year by 0.9% and continue to be slightly ahead of the forecast. Video lottery is holding around the same as last year, with sales up about 0.5% from last year. Our sports betting continues to have strong performance, up nearly 36% over last year. So overall, sales continue to be positive in an upward trend at about 1.6% from where we were last year. And, coincidentally, this was a big topic of discussion this week at the conference that I am at. And, pleased to learn that we are in alignment with the lotteries across the country. And in fact, are probably doing a little bit better than many of the lotteries across the country at 1.6% increase. So nothing too alarming there as we look at those. A few winner stories. A retirement surprise for Arthur W. from Redmond. He won $23,501.30 playing the 8-spot Keno. He scanned his ticket again to make sure he was reading the display correctly, which told him congratulations, and that he needs to claim his prize at the lottery office. He plans to spend the winnings on an extravagant dinner with his wife and will save the rest to supplement their retirement income. He bought his ticket at the Safeway in Redmond. We have another big Keno winner story to share. Sean G. and his wife are first-time winners and could not believe their eyes when they hit an 8-spot prize jackpot worth $67,326.70. The couple bought their ticket while playing pool at the sports page in Beaverton. Sean turns 50 in October, and they are headed to Vegas to celebrate and have a Mexico trip planned as well. This money will help them have a great time in retirement and vacation. Finally, a lucky DraftKings player from Portland placed a $10 7-pick parlay in the NBA playoffs. After hitting all 7 selections, the player won $7,500 on his $10 wager. And that concludes my director's report for this month.
Thank you, Director Wells. And questions or comments from the commission? I had a couple. The sports lottery across the nation, you indicated it looks like we're doing a little bit, maybe a little better than our peers. In terms of, we weren't the first to start this. Where are we in the pack? Do you know who is what state first started on the sports betting? Or how many do?
I do not know who was first on that. Sorry.
That's all right. You're in the venue to find out for me, though.
I definitely will. I can tell you, again, I don't know the exact count, but it's about 50% of the lotteries are now offering sports. And I actually got a message from one of my colleagues on this call. So it was New Jersey was the first to offer sports. So
Nice. Well, actually 50% is more than I expected. So that's interesting. That's really interesting information. And your in-person event in August sounds pretty exciting. I hope that it goes well.
Thank you. Yeah, me too.
With that, let's move to the minutes. The minutes of the previous commission meeting have been circulated to the commission in advance of today's meeting. If there are no changes to the minutes, is there a motion to approve?
I move that the minutes of the Oregon State Lottery Commission meeting and work session held on May 31st, 2024 be approved as final as presented today.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Patel,
Aye.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Aye.
Commissioner Weller,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilcox,
Aye.
Chair Satthoff.
Aye. For the record, the motion has passed. Director Wells, I believe you're going to provide an update or a review of the strategic plan.
Sorry. I'm operating on one screen today, so it's a little more confusing where everything is. So, yes, so strategic plan. So included in your packet is a copy of Lottery's fiscal year 25 strategic plan. Just as a reminder, on May 31st, during our work session, staff and I spent several hours reviewing our agency strategic plan, our information technology strategic plan, our diversity, equity, and inclusion strategic plan, as well as the action items that we've outlaid for fiscal year 25 to deliver on those plans. We're very excited about the clarity and the deliverability of this plan and how it ties to kind of our long-term extended planning for the organization. The strategic plan was used as the basis to create the agency budget, which will be discussed in more detail shortly. So we are seeking commission support in approving our FY25 strategic plan. Happy to answer any questions that you may have from either our work session or after you reviewed it again today about that plan. But again, are seeking your support in approving that plan today.
Thank you. Questions or comments on the plan from the commission? Hearing none, I do want to say that I know that the commission very much appreciated the work session and the thorough review. I think the plan is very thoughtful and in planning for the future for this entity. And just, I personally very much appreciated the efforts that you all made. Is there a motion to improve to approve the strategic plan?
I move that the Oregon State Lottery Commission approve the fiscal year 25 strategic plan as presented today.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll? Elise-
Sorry, Commissioner Patel,
Aye.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Aye.
Commissioner Weller,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilcox,
Aye.
Chair Satthoff.
Aye. For the record, the motion is passed. Let's move to the financial reports, and I think that's Monique and Christy.
Good morning, Chair Satthoff, Commissioners, Director Wells. For the record, my name is Monique Favre, Financial Reporting Manager for the Oregon Lottery. I am presenting on behalf of Chrissy Comas, the interim CFO. Today, we will go over the financial report for the month of May and year-to-date for fiscal year 2024. May net revenues are $126 million on a budget of $121.1 million, generating a favorable variance of $4.9 million. Net revenues year-to-date are $1.327 billion on a budget of $1.313 billion. This is a $14.1 million favorable variance to budget. For the month of May, total gross wagering was 2.1% more than anticipated. Mega Millions wagering exceeded budget by 29.1% as the jackpot rose to over $560 million by the end of the month. Sports gross wagering continues to exceed budget. Sports wagering is currently not included in the OEA forecast and as such has not been adjusted by the updated forecast. May net revenues have positive variances for all product types. Although video gross wagering was close to anticipated amounts, the actual prize rate was 92.6% compared to the budget rate of 92.7%, allowing net revenues to be higher than budget. Year to date, net revenue now compared to the June forecast, shows revenue after prizes close to forecast except for the sports product. Net profit for the month is $88.4 million on a plan of $78.5 million, creating a favorable variance of $9.8 million. Net profit year-to-date is $859.7 million compared to a budget of $803.7 million, causing a favorable variance of $56.1 million. May favorable net profit from operations was driven generally by net revenues from all products, higher than anticipated indirect revenue, and lower than anticipated indirect expense. May indirect revenue includes a $1.2 million gain on the market value of securities, along with interest earnings on cash balances in the bank. The securities we hold to fund future prize installments increased in value, causing additional indirect revenue. This is an unrealized gain, and all securities will mature at their face value despite any market fluctuations during their life. Year-to-date, favorable net profit from operations drivers are net revenue, interest earnings, and savings in both direct and indirect expenses. Noteworthy variances to mention include game vendor charges. Video game vendor charges show a negative amount as there is a $128K correction for April expense that was reversed in May. Year-to-date amounts are under expectations because of the shift in lottery priority and focus. This shift resulted in a pause on some intelligent changes that were originally anticipated. Sports game vendor charges are overdue to sales being higher than anticipated. However, the overage is less than would be expected since the budget was based on a higher rate than is being charged. Salaries, wages, and benefits. Salaries for May were less than budget by 9.5%, and benefits were less by 40.8%, As noted in previous months, the benefits budget rate was low due to a formula error with other payroll expenses. In May, we received an estimate of FY24 PERS expense, and the amount will be less than anticipated by $4 to $6 million. As such, the accrual for PERS expense was stopped for May and June as we have accrued enough expense. Combining the unfavorable OPE rate issue with the favorable change in PERS expense nets a favorable variance for benefits of $951K. Year-to-date, salary expense is favorable to budget by 5.9%, but OPE remains unfavorable by 13.9%, or $3.5 million, causing a net unfavorable variance. Please review the comprehensive variance analysis provided in the commission packets and public meeting materials for detailed explanations of the monthly and year-to-date differences between the budget and actuals. I'll pause there to see if there's any questions. All right. And with that, I also have the balance sheet for your consideration.
Shoot, sorry, I'm
Hang on a
sorry, I
sec.
was
There
on
we go.
mute. I was asking for questions and comments, and I think
Oh,
Commissioner Weller, I think Commissioner Weller has a question. I'm going to just stay off mute so I don't do this again.
Thank you. Monique, I have two questions regarding these. In the net profit from operations, in the print materials here, it says the securities we hold to fund future prize installments increased in value, causing additional indirect revenue, unrealized gain. All securities will mature at their face value despite any market fluctuations during their life. That would seem to indicate to me, do we need to reflect that unrealized gain as in effect a temporary item, or is that against the rules that we have in terms of the reporting? I'd hate to have us go along thinking, okay, we've got, pick a number, $19 million in securities, that's their value, but we're not carrying them at that amount.
Yes, so you're bringing up an excellent question. This is actually something that we are discussing amongst my team in the background. We're carrying this gain, right, this unrealized gain via the operating statement, but the reality is it is very much unrealized. So there, we are looking across other lotteries, the way that they are handling and truly recording these transactions. And it's something that we're in the midst of, compiling some research. We'll bring to the executive team and make a recommendation, but I very much agree and think that there may be a better way of handling this, just because we're continuing to have to, recognize an unrealized gain that in essence won't ever become realized, right? So that's something that we need to consider.
That seems to me to indicate, okay, we've got securities on the books at X number of dollars, but we are assured that we will not recoup that amount because we will get face value when they mature.
Correct.
Okay.
Can I
So
ask
you're
a
looking into
follow-up
that.
interjection here on this? Because I had
Yeah.
a question that wasn't as specific as Commissioner Weller's. Our securities are, frankly, aren't they managed through the treasurer's office? And so when you talk about making a change like this, are you in discussions with the treasurer's office about it?
So it doesn't actually have to do with the investment side of the issue. The issue is
Okay.
really the accounting treatment of it, which is really solely housed by the lottery and the governance that we abide by. So, or the accounting rules that we have to abide by. So yes, in this regard, it wouldn't be something that we would necessarily have to work through or obtain approval from them. It would really be a matter of accounting treatment
Us,
with
all
our
right.
own
There's
organization.
nobody else in the state that we would have to deal with this on then. It's just
No,
our,
I think a lot of it will be probably our auditors, the Secretary of
Right,
State. It will
right.
be our, end users of our information. And then ultimately DAS, as everything that we do, all of our financial statements across every organization and agency, right? That all rolls up into a larger consolidated
Yeah.
report at year end. We will definitely make sure that they understand, but really from a statewide perspective, this is very immaterial. So it's more of a visibility and awareness, less about this hugely impacting anything that they're doing. Because like I said, at the end of the day, it is unrealized. It would be also a different situation if this was an unrealized gain or loss that we were ever going to actually have to record.
Thank
So,
you. Jeff, I didn't
Mhm.
mean to interrupt. I just wanted to get
No,
my
no.
process question answered. So go ahead.
That's just fine. It melds very nicely with that question. And Monique, if you would please make a note somewhere to keep at least me informed if, as and when changes are coming about for that. Then I have a
Absolutely.
second question, again, in the detailed information in sales support. You're talking about, it starts out by saying May favorable 22,000 year to date 495. And then you immediately turn around and variances due to the following unfavorable May variance is attributed. Okay. I think that's a misnomer. I think that should be a favorable. It's attributed to others that what those are contributing to. You're
Okay,
saying
just
May
a
is
second.
favorable in the title, but you're saying it's unfavorable in the detail.
Oh, and the favorable, yeah, let me look at that. Yeah, sorry, let me see. And we are talking sales support, you said, correct? Sorry, I was catching up to
Correct.
you. Okay, so for the month is favorable.
Which is what your title says.
Yes,
But then your explanation says the unfavorable May variance is attributed. I think it's just a miswording. Somehow we got an unfavorable and it should be favorable. It's just that
Yeah,
one word.
yeah, I think you're correct, but let me go back and dig into that. Because sometimes within accounts, we have a favorable portion as well as an unfavorable, even if, let's say, the net is favorable. So I just want to make sure before I give you an answer, exactly how we were kind of bifurcating that answer. So yeah, let me get back to you on that, Jeff.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Just so I be clear on that one, Jeff, are you talking about on page 40? I know we have a lot of informational materials this time, so I'm struggling to make sure I keep on the same pages. where
It's in
we're
the
at.
summary report and it's on the second page, excuse me, the
Okay.
third page of the summary report.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments? Monique, are we ready to move to the motion? Or do you have
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve the financial statements?
I move that the Oregon State Lottery financial statements for the month ended May 31st, 2024 be approved for the record as presented today.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Patel,
Aye.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Aye.
Commissioner Weller, you're on mute.
Get off of there. Aye.
Commissioner Wilcox,
Aye.
Chair Sathoff,
Aye. For the record, the motion is passed. With that, it looks like maybe Christy Combs is going to talk to us about the investment fund. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you. I'll speak to the budget and the investment fund.
Yep, thank
Good
you.
morning, Chair Sathoff, Commissioners, Director Wells. For the record, my name's Christy Comus, and I'm the interim CFO here at Lottery. Today, I will discuss with you some of the highlights of our FY25 budget, as well as our proposal to create an investment fund. So in your packets, you received several documents outlining the details of our FY25 budget, including a letter from me with the highlights of that budget. Just a few things I'd like to bring to your attention. So this year, for the first time, we held a budget summit where each department came in and shared their budgets. We discussed spending for the FY24 plan and their plans for FY25. We also asked them to present a reduction package with their budgets. That first round budget was what you saw during our work session in May, on May 31st. After that, we asked them to go back and review their budgets, come back with some updates and changes that were aligned with the priorities that exec team had come up with and with our strategy. And that is what's before you today for our FY25 final proposed budget. With these changes in our budget process and our asks of better alignment with our strategy, our current fiscal year budget has a total of 3.15% of revenue, and our FY25 budget in front of you today is a 3.05% of revenue. A few highlights in this budget. So our revenues are based on the May OEA forecast and OSL's sports forecast. And we are projecting an increase of $62,487,460 in those revenues. All of our payouts, retailer commissions, game vendor charges, they're all calculated based on our contractual rates. The depreciation numbers you see in this budget have increased, and that is due to some changes in GASB 96 and the way we need to classify some of our depreciation. And it also includes $20 million in VLTs that'll be purchased in FY25. Our ticket costs and advertising are decreasing slightly due to some more accurate pricing and also some alignment in our strategy. And then, as I mentioned, our initiative to more accurate budgeting, we have over a $2.6 million decrease in our services and supplies line items compared to our current year budget. Our salaries and benefits budget in this fiscal year includes a 3.6% base pay increase effective July 1, 2024, and a $3.8 million line item to cover a pay calibration project that we've discussed in the past to keep us in alignment with the pay equity law and ensure equal pay across our agency. The capital budget is detailed out in that management letter that I sent out with just over $39 million. And some of the items included in that capital budget are those VLTs that I mentioned, continued work on our RPM project, some IT upgrades, some vehicle upgrades, some headquarter remodels and upgrades, and then also the completion of our security system at our headquarters. So overall, this is a budget that supports our strategy and allows the lottery to continue robust financial health and a solid transfer base for the state of Oregon. So also as part of this financial strategy for FY25, we're asking for your approval to close the current modernization fund and create an investment fund. This fund will be held to provide sufficient working capital to address investments for strategy delivery planned 1 year or more in advance, to fund unanticipated needs during the fiscal year. It will also allow us to maintain the stability of the contingency fund. This new investment fund would have a cap of $50 million and would be funded at year end, fiscal year end, with excess administrative savings once the contingency is fully funded. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your time and happy to answer any questions you may have about either our fiscal year 25 budget or the creation of the investment fund.
Questions or comments from the commission? Hearing none, and I know that we've talked about the budget quite a bit at our last workshop, as well as the investment fund. Again, I want to thank the staff for working very hard to get a budget that aligns with where we're headed in the lottery. So thank you. With that, is there a motion to approve the creation of the investment fund?
I move that the Oregon State Lottery Commission approve the creation of a lottery investment fund to be capped at $50 million to assist in funding future investments and unexpected expenses. Funding the investment fund annually will come from administrative savings after the contingency reserve account is fully funded. Notwithstanding other commission approvals, when both the contingency reserve and investment fund are fully funded, all remaining funds will be transferred to the state as administrative savings.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Patel,
Aye.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Aye.
Commissioner Weller,
Okay, my computer's playing silly games. Aye.
Commissioner Wilcox,
Aye.
Chair Sathoff.
Aye. For the record, the motion is passed. I think we now need to move to adopt the budget. Is there a motion to adopt the fiscal year 25 budget?
I move that the Oregon State Lottery Commission adopt the proposed budget for FY25, including the associated compensation increases for the director, deputy director, and AD for security as presented today.
Great. Do I have a second?
Second.
And will the clerk call the roll?
Commissioner Patel,
Aye.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Aye.
Commissioner Weller,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilcox,
Aye.
Chair Sathoff.
Aye. For the record, the motion has passed. Okay, I think with that, we are moving to the alternative disclosure request, and I think that Director Wells is going to talk to us about that.
Yes, I am.
Sorry? Okay.
Yep, yes, I am. Thank you. In your packet, you guys will also have a memo regarding an alternative disclosure request for Pilot Travel Centers LLC. The memo provides additional specifics. However, as a quick reminder, the alternative disclosure process was adopted in 2015 by commission to reduce the personal disclosure requirements for qualifying companies. Again, as a reminder, to be a qualifying company for alternative disclosure, the applicant must be a public company or multi-state chain retailer with at least 30 retail locations, 10 million in gross sales, and over 300 employees, or an entity owned by a federally recognized tribe. To date, the commission has approved the use of the alternative disclosure process for 9 separate entities. I've reviewed the specifics of the Pilot Travel Center LLC and find it meets our OAR requirements. And with that, I would recommend that we use the alternative disclosure process for the Pilot Travel Centers LLC. And I'm seeking your approval for us to move forward with that.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the commission? Okay, hearing none. Is there a motion to approve the alternative disclosure process for this entity?
I move that the Oregon State Lottery Commission approve the alternative disclosure process, waiving the personal disclosure requirements for Pilot Travel Centers LLC as presented today.
Do I have a second?
Second.
And will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Patel,
Aye.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Aye.
Commissioner Weller,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilcox,
Aye.
Chair Sathoff.
Aye. For the record, the motion has passed. Are there any other commissioner, oh, there is, excuse me. We have an audit committee update, so I believe that was going to be Commissioner Weller.
I believe that is the situation. The Lottery Audit Committee meeting was held on Tuesday, June 25th via Zoom. The Audit Committee was briefed on the lottery's Enterprise Risk Management Program. The lottery's executive team recently conducted an in-depth review of its existing Enterprise Risk Management register and process. Based on this review, the executive team decided to simplify and streamline its approach that is aligned with the agency's enterprise strategy and portfolio. Based on this new approach, a total of 12 risks have been identified that the executive team will develop action plans to address. The Internal Audit Department provided an update on the results of its quarterly follow-up review on management's actions in addressing open biennial security review and Internal Audit Department recommendations. A total of 82 open recommendations were followed up on during this reporting period, which included 67 biennial security review recommendations and 15 from prior Internal Audit Department engagements. Overall, Internal Audit reported that management has taken corrective actions to fully address and close 20 recommendations, is nearly complete in resolving 16 additional recommendations, and making progress in satisfying 11 other open recommendations. The Audit Committee also reviewed and approved recent changes to the Internal Audit and Audit Committee charters, which primarily consisted of personnel updates and language that aligns both charters with recently adopted internal audit standards. Lastly, the committee also received an update on 2 Internal Audit Department engagements in progress. The first engagement is entitled Intelligen User Access Review, and the second engagement is Procurement Planning and Contract Development. Both engagements are expected to be completed in July, and the Audit Committee will receive a briefing on the results of each during our next scheduled meeting in September. This completes my Audit Committee report.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the commission? I don't know if you can answer this. I should have thought about asking this. The audit usually has a plan for the annual year. Are there any significant audits that you think are going to get rolled to the next year? Anybody, Commissioner Weller or or Moline, anybody, if they could answer that. If not, just do it as a follow-up. I just was curious as to whether some of our audits are going to need to roll.
So I think the procurement planning and contract development, that's about 85% complete. That one's going to roll over to next year. And the Intelligen user access review is 95% complete. So those will roll over, but they're pretty much the bulk of the way done.
Oh, good. So they'll get done early in next year, likely.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Patel. Any other communications or questions or comments from the commission? Okay. Hearing none, this concludes today's meeting of the Oregon State Lottery Commission. The next meeting is scheduled on Friday, July 26th. Thank you for attending today's meeting. The meeting is adjourned. Nice to see everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, one and all.
Thanks. Bye.
Mike, have fun.
Thank you.